It is the fourth round of the tiebreak, of the rapid tiebreak, the fourth rapid game. Nepomniatchchi has been pushing Ding Liren a little bit in this last tiebreak game in the rapid section. If this ends in a draw, we go to blitz. But Nepo wants to win. He pushed Ding around a little bit, and at this moment, Nepo decides to repeat. Let's go for the draw and let's go to blitz. King moves, queen check, king moves, queen check. And here, Ding Liren, who has been on the back foot the entire game and the entire match, decides to play a move that looks ridiculous. Rook to g6, going into a self pin. He's saying, I am up 2 pawns. Show me what you got. My rook is pinned, but what are you going to do? And this completely threw Ian off. Imagine you were in Ian's situation. You are mentally ready to go for the draw and the blitz tiebreak. And your opponent plays rook g6. What do? You're suddenly in panic mode, and Ian panicked. Nepo panicked. He played queen f5, which gives black a slight advantage. The correct thing to do would have been h4. And then black will play h5, and then you can play something like rook c2, and you can hold on. So he plays queen f5, it is still okay. Ding plays c4. Here, Nepo had a way to draw the game. He should have played queen f4. The point being, he's going to win the c pawn. If Nepo was not totally panicked, if he was calm, easy for me to say, it was time trouble and it was difficult. But if he had found queen f4, he would have drawn the game. Because now you can't defend this pawn, right? If you go rook c6, queen e4 check, and rook will have to come back. And if you push the pawn, then Nepo can still play queen f5 and he can hold on to the c2 square. And it will be difficult for Ding to make progress here because the c3 pawn is also weak. Bishop d4 is also coming. So this was important for Nepo to play queen f4. But he plays pawn h4, a move too late. Pawn h4 was okay, one move back. But here black can play queen d3. And once black controls the diagonal, it was not possible before because the pawn was not on c4. So one move back, if he had played h4, then he's threatening h5. But here queen d3 is just in time. So now Ding is winning. Queen goes to f3, Ding plays rook f6, queen moves to g4, and Ding's pawn comes forward. Here rook d1, pushing the queen back, but queen g6, and now queen c8. What is the idea? Ding can just play rook c6 and push and promote, right? But Nepo's idea is after rook c6, he goes queen a8. He wants to play rook d8. If Ding plays pawn c2, he will play rook d8, and if promotes, he is willing to give up a piece. Takes, takes, and then king moves, and he has got ideas of rook check here. Does that work? Ding had enough time on his clock to find the win here. He had 1.5 minutes. He should just push the pawn. Pawn c2, rook d8, and then just promote. Bishop takes, rook takes, king g2 allows queen c6. That's a win, exchange of queens. King h2, right? Now Ding can just play queen c6. Because after rook check, king moves, there's no checks. White has no checks over here. E8 is covered by the queen. But of course, Ding didn't want this line to happen. He didn't see queen c6 probably. He didn't want any complications to happen. So he played after queen a8, just rook d6, not even allowing the rook to come in, which is still winning for Ding. Now takes, and here queen e4 check, queen g6, queen c4. He's not letting the pawn go forward. Because if c2, there is h5, and you win the c pawn, the important pawn. So queen check by Ding, king h2, all standard. It's still better for Ding. Pawn a4. Here Nepo played bishop d4 correctly, keeping an eye on g7 and attacking the pawn. So Ding goes pawn a3, allowing the pawn to get taken. But if you take and take, just pawn a2 and there's no checks to the black king. That is Ding's idea. Here Nepo played queen c7. This was Nepo's last chance. He had two ways to make a draw here. First one was bishop takes g7, sacrificing a piece, but then he gets a repetition. Of course, difficult to see with 27 seconds with the clock ticking down, but this was a draw. Takes, queen c7. The black king can't get out of here. For example, if you try to block with the bishop, if you play something like king f8, queen check, and then king f7, trying to play after queen b7. Important to play queen b7 here because now there is no bishop e7. The queen hangs. That's the point. And if the king tries to come up, we still continue the checks. b6, a6, c6, anything. If king comes up, again check, queen b5 check. If king comes even closer, again we can give check on d7, for example. And if king comes to c4, queen f7 check. The king can't get any, he can't come to this diagonal because of the skewer. Queen check, and he will win the queen, which would still be a draw because the pawns are good enough. For example, king d2, queen takes, and this is still a draw. Here you can't push the pawn because the bishop hangs with check, but you can just move bishop back, and it's still a draw. But Ding will be fighting for the draw now. So bishop into g7 was a draw, but of course a complicated line to calculate. The other option was h5, a very nice move. If Nepo had his nerves in position, if he was not nervous, if he was not panicky, he would have found h5 because the idea is if you push the pawn, there's queen f7 and white's winning. Right? You'll have to fight for the draw somehow. You will have to play queen g1 check and then promote and go and defend the pawn. If you don't do that, white is winning. Because how do you defend g7? Queen is blocked. Queen can't come to g6 anyway. So h5 was the other drawing move here for Nepo. But Nepo in this position could not find either of those moves. And because everything was on the line and he had 27 seconds on the clock, he played queen c7. And from here, Ding just takes over. There's no chance for Nepo because Ding goes queen g6, stopping h5 and defending g7 checkmate threat. Now queen comes back to c4, but then c2. Bishop e3, just bishop d6 back, keeping the bishop defended because the c1 square is covered by this bishop. So queen was threatening to take it. Just bishop d6, and now king g2 and pawn h5. Ding stops the idea of h5 completely. Because if you wait one more move, h5 is coming. And then if you take it, queen take. That's why king g2 was played by Nepo. But now Ding plays h5, stopping that threat. And here king f1, trying to get in with the king, but bishop d4, a very nice move, covering the a1 square. So the idea is just play bishop b2 and then get the queen in to push a2 and c1. Nepo plays g4, desperate mode, takes h5, queen f5. Queen stays on the diagonal. Ding is not going to let this one slip. A pin, but then g3. Everything wins here, but g3 is the most accurate move, and Ding played it. After f4, Ding plays the correct move, a2. Everything wins again, a2 is the strongest move. Because if queen takes it, which he did, you just play bishop into f4. And here Nepo resigned because bishop takes, queen takes is just winning for black. A queen in game that's winning, pawn is promoting. And that is how Ding became the world champion in 2023. Nepo had his chances, but nobody can blame him because it was rapid. He was down to seconds and the clock was ticking down and he was under pressure. But full credits to Ding for playing that ice cold rook g6 move when his opponent was about to go for a draw. Right here. Nepo was repeating, Ding was repeating. The commentators thought it was going to be a draw. Everyone thought it was going to be a draw. But Ding says no. Ding says rook g6. Show me what he got. I'm up 2 points. And he went on to become the champion. A well deserved champion.